Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about why I left Pratt MWP, and I believe it's going through a rebrand, so I know it as Pratt MWP, but it's probably going to be known as Pratt Munson now. So for the rest of this video I'm going to refer to it as Pratt Munson so that there's less confusion. But essentially I attended Pratt for 1 year and I am transferring to FIT. And for this 1 year, I think Pratt allowed me to learn a lot of things, but I'm leaving because it didn't give me what I needed to be successful. And I just want this video to be a resource for those who are looking to maybe attend Pratt and to maybe kind of enroll in this program and to get like a better, more full understanding of what this program will be like, because there's not that much resources on the internet about Pratt Munson, and I think that if I was able to find more resources, perhaps I would have chosen another route. And looking back, I don't necessarily regret going to Pratt. It had taught me a lot, but in a way I felt like I wasn't given, I wasn't well informed enough going into it. So without further ado, I am gonna start the video, and I want to put out a disclaimer though that I'm not trying to bash this institution, and this video's opinions are purely my own and they're not associated with the institution at all, and they're not associated with anyone else at Pratt Munson or any students at Pratt Munson. This is purely, I think, a personal account of someone who attended and had their freshman year there. So just putting that out there, and just putting out that this will be a mildly brutal yet honest review of Pratt Munson. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so I'm gonna first start by introducing Pratt Munson. So Pratt Munson is a 2-year program, and it's essentially a satellite school, a feeder school into Pratt Institute in Brooklyn, New York, and it is a similar structure where you do your freshman year foundation courses there, and you do your second year kind of studio classes there as well. And after those 2 years, you get transferred to the Brooklyn campus at Pratt. And there's a lot of reasons why students choose to attend it. The main reason I feel like is financially. It's just a more affordable option because it's not in New York and it is a satellite campus. They significantly lower the tuition that you'd be paying. And then also it's not the city, so a lot of people attend there because they're mildly terrified to go into the city right after high school. So that's the second reason, mainly. Not speaking for other people, but from what I observed. And yeah, so basically that's what the campus is. I would say it's located in Utica, New York, so it is within a small rundown town and essentially middle of nowhere. So that's a little bit about the school. Sorry. I'm gonna first start out by talking more about what I think are pros of the school, and then I'll go into the cons, and then I'll conclusively talk about who I think is fit to attend this school and why I think those people wouldn't necessarily benefit from attending this school, and then who should attend another school and would benefit from not attending this school, and why I personally left this school. So let's get started. First of the pros, I think Pratt Munson has a pretty good dorming system, in that the dorms are nice compared to a lot of other colleges. Pratt is, because it is a smaller school, has less students, and so because of that there's like a smaller need to cram students into tiny little boxes. And so for most freshmen, you would get put into a freshman dorm, and that dorm is a studio-like apartment, and you would get a living room and a kitchenette and a personal bathroom and a bedroom that you would share with 3 other students. And I was lucky in that I only had to share with 2 students because we always had one roommate not be there somehow. So in my opinion, I think the living situation is quite nice. You do feel like you're living in a structure that's more house-like than a traditional dorm where you have a communal bathroom and you're sharing with a bunch of other people, and your bedroom is essentially just like a little box. So I think that's a really big pro of Pratt. I was able to do a lot of my homework in my dorm, and I think given the weather situation of Pratt Munson, it was really nice. And then I think that it also had a really good museum. Pratt Munson is associated and affiliated with the Munson Museum in Utica, and the Munson Museum does have a really the Munson Museum does have a really nice selection of art pieces. It has, I believe, a Picasso in there and a potluck, and there's also a Warhol, and don't quote, but I believe there's also a Dali, a Salvador Dali. So there's and like more other really famous artists as well have works in there. So it's a really nice collection, and I think it's the most extravagant part of the campus in my opinion. It truly is really beautiful, and I think it was the one part of the campus that I think really reminded me of why I wanted to be an artist. And so I really treasure Munson, and in the beginning you have a lot of your orientation things there and a lot of seminars there, and those were really fun as well. So I think the museum is a really nice addition to the campus. And then to talk about actual classes and academics, the studio classes were really immersive, and I was able to learn a lot from them. My teachers were, for the most part, really knowledgeable and knew, especially for my drawing and my painting classes. They're gonna be called LCD and visual representation. Those two classes, I think all of the teachers for the most part know what they're talking about, and really they give you a set of skills that you're able to take with you for the rest of your career. And it truly is the foundation, like the fundamental things that you're able to learn through this first year, and it helps a lot, I think, with the rest of your career. So I really do value those classes, and I think they're really good classes. So I really enjoyed taking those. Your elective classes, I think, are very hit or miss depending on your academic level. I came in with a bit of a larger amount of academic rigor than I think the average student, so I found those classes to be in a way like worse than my classes in high school. They were just a bit muddled, and I felt like I was learning at not a level that I should be learning in as a college student. So that's what I think about the academic classes. And then for you're also gonna have a sculpture class, and you're gonna have a time movement class, and those are essentially trade skills in my opinion. Basically you're gonna be learning for a semester, you're gonna be learning skills in relation to sculpture, so think wire, paper, sculpting, cardboard building type situation. And then you're also going to be learning a set of skills in relation to like graphics, digital, which is my major. I'm a graphic design major. I still am gonna be a graphic design major at FIT. So I was excited about that class, but in a way, I feel like both classes, because they are shorter, they're considered semester classes instead of year-long classes. They don't provide a deep enough scope into anything that you learn, so it just feels really muddled and inefficient. But regardless of that, I think the two studio classes I said before were really good classes, and they're classes that I think deserve to be treasured because I definitely took a lot away from them. So moving on, the last thing that I have to say that is really nice about Pratt Munson is you get some affiliation with Pratt Institute, and in that I mean that your email is a Pratt email, so you get you get access into their database, and in that I mean you get to use their digital resources, like you get access to a lot of scholarly works like JSTOR, and I think you also maybe get EBSCO as well. And you also get access to some of their networking and career-based resources. And you also get access to the Adobe Suite it's not necessarily free because it's covered in your tuition, but you do get access to it the summer before you start attending the college. So I thought that was a really nice plus. I was able to work a lot on my own in Illustrator and learn a lot of programs on there. So I was really grateful for that. And I think that conclusively ends what I believe are the pros of attending Pratt Munson. Pros that I don't consider pros, but I think maybe for other people they would be pros, and how it's advertised on Pratt Munson's website is that Pratt Munson's a campus that is a bit smaller, so you are less overwhelmed by the college environment. Because it's smaller, the staff are also in a way more friendly and more attentive, and they get to know you better. You get more personalized attention in classes, and you get to know your students better. Those are what they say as like the pros of that, but I think a smaller campus isn't necessarily something that I was seeking, because in a way a smaller campus means that everyone knows everyone's business, and when you want to just have some secrecy with your private life, that's not going to be something that you're going to have on this campus, so just be ready for that. Okay, so now I'm going to talk a little bit about the cons of the school. So I mentioned it earlier, but I'm going to go a little bit more in depth into why I think the academics are really lacking, especially for me. I came in with a lot of academic rigor. I did a lot of college credits in my high school career, to the point where for FIT, like I have my whole like freshman year like blacked out because I like was able to transfer all of my AP credits, and it's just like such a different ball field at Pratt Institute, because they make you take their elective classes even though you already have like a similar credit for it. And so I was put into a lot of these classes that I just thought were repeats of classes I've taken before. Like I took world history before, and I was put into this culture class, which essentially felt like I was just retaking my world history class, but in a way on an even like lesser level, like a less rigorous level. And it baffled me that certain students didn't know certain things that I considered quite basic, especially if you're at a level where you're about to attend college, like MLA formatting, or how to insert a author's name into a paper, proper punctuation, proper capitalization, proper line of reasoning. All of these things I just felt like had to be taught, which was an interesting difference for me. And so I think a lot of the teachers just felt a little unprofessional. There was a certain teacher who kept telling the class that she works another job and that we should pay attention more, because she came here after her 9 to 5 shift, and she's teaching us, and she's like interactive, so we should be interactive too, which I felt was a little bit TMI into her personal life. That same teacher also did not provide me with my grades for anything after the first grade that I got, which was a quiz grade. Everything else, every paper, every test, I never got a grade back on, which was interesting. And when I contacted the registrar about it because I was confused, she proceeded to contact the instructor, but the instructor did not ever respond back. So I just think that sometimes the school is just a little iffy with things like that. If you're considering attending Pratt Munson, I would say either be ready for that, or be accepting of it, or if your rigor is in that range, then I think it will be very benefiting. But at the same time, I think everyone also takes those classes as jokes because they're not our art classes, so in a way it's very it feels a little worse than high school almost. So that's that. And then moving on, another thing that I think is a big con is there's a lot of smoking on campus, which I'm not a person to judge a person's private life, but because it's such a small campus and there's very limited kind of people that you see around, there's just a big culture of it, and I think that in a way impacts the social scene a little bit, and it becomes like a social barrier. Okay, so my third con is I think the admin and the systems are a bit outdated. I didn't really notice this difference until I started doing things with FIT, and I realized they had a full database with everything that I would possibly need on there to schedule for appointments and things like that. But Pratt Munson doesn't really have that. You don't necessarily even have a academic advisor, which is really uncommon, I believe. Instead, you have a therapist who kind of becomes an academic advisor, but because that's not her necessarily like trained field, she's not the best at kind of giving you advice in that way, and it's just hard to find people who will quote unquote help you if you have like an issue. You have to talk to a variety of different people, and then they proceed to kind of either brush it off, or they aren't able to do anything about it because there's a lot of policies in place. For instance, I wanted a class change, but because of Pratt Institute and how Pratt Munson is under Pratt Institute, to get a class change you would have to go to Pratt Institute, like they would have to get permission for Pratt Institute for Pratt Munson students, and in a way I feel like that's just really inefficient, and because of that inherent system, it's not able that you're gonna get anything like accommodated or like special to you. It's essentially a very like template like school that I feel like you're in a way just like you sit there for 2 years and you take what they give, and then you get whisked off to like a quote unquote better school, and that's kind of how it runs. And so if that's okay with you, I think then you'll be fine. But for me, I felt like in a way I wasn't taken care of in the best way, so that didn't really sit right with me personally. And then another thing that also felt like that is the dining hall food. Okay, I'm sorry, my camera ran out of battery, but as I was saying, the fourth con is the dining hall food. It's not that it's a bad selection of food, it's more so that because of the quality of students, because of the quantity of students, and because of just kind of I think how things are stored and imported into the dining hall, a lot of the food comes out fresh for the first part of the week or something, and then it either like dwindles down so that it's not even there anymore, or it just becomes not fresh because the same like bowl gets put out every day for like the salad bar, for fruits, for things like that. And so you get to days where you don't want to eat the like 2 meals that they offer you, and it's usually, especially if you're vegetarian, this is extremely difficult or actually they got a little better about it near the end, but I know in the beginning a lot of my vegetarian friends struggled because they weren't able to find suitable dining options for them. But essentially what happens is you get like 2 big like entree meals that are offered, or 2 or 3 entree meals that are offered, and then there's either like a 4th one and another section of the bar that's a bit bit colder in a way, like hummus dip or something like that, or like a charcuterie board, or you're offered pizza, which is always there, and then you're offered a salad bar that's always there, or you're offered a deli bar that's always there. But the issue about the pizza, salad, and deli bars are, first of all, the pizza bar is not necessarily the most healthy option to be eating every day, and then also it's not necessarily the best pizza because they hand make it, and it's very like hit or miss. And then the salad bar is not necessarily always fresh, because like I said earlier, like the food is either put out or it's like left there. And then the same goes for the deli bar. They run out of bread really quickly and it's not restocked, so a lot of times I'll like want to get a sandwich, but then there's not gonna be enough bread, so then I'm like, okay. So things like that I think make it really difficult to enjoy the dining hall food. You also just of course get sick of dining hall food because dining hall food can't ever really be good, but you would think because it's a smaller campus and you don't have to cater to as many people, it's like slightly better, but it's like the same as any other state school campus in my opinion. Perhaps even worse because there's not other dining options nearby really. You can't necessarily walk to like a local deli or anything like that to get a better option. You would have to like deliver, which is fine. Delivering food, it's not like the best quality food, but it's also not the worst. It's just not necessarily budget friendly to be always delivering food, but you end up doing it quite often, and it's frustrating because you're forced into a meal plan both years because it just comes with your housing. So you're essentially paying them extra money to not eat the food that they provide you anyways. So I think that's a really big con for me, is the food situation. And then the next one is the location. So like I said, it's located in Utica, New York, which is a bit of a rundown, like small town in the middle of nowhere. It's better if you have a car and you can access the other bigger cities, but if you don't, then what's around you is essentially like a couple of smoke shops, and there is like a deli like a bit further away, and you also get access to like the downtown area, but it's honestly not the most safe to be walking alone. And the thing about Utica is also because it's so far up north, it gets really cold in the winter, so you can walk for maybe like a month or two at the beginning of the year and then maybe the last month at the end of the year, but other than that you're stuck in like the freezing cold and you're not gonna want to even leave your dorm. So I don't think it's necessarily the best weather situation. And location wise, it's just very dreary because of all the snow. You don't really see sunlight ever after like the first month, so there's that. And then the last one is you just have access to really little, and I mean that in all terms. You get access to really little in terms of like the location, and you get access to very little in terms of like the school because of its inherent nature. Like it's underneath, it's like an extension in a way of Pratt Institute. Because of that, a lot of things have to go through Pratt, and because Pratt are, as they should be, more focused on their main campus students, they seem to kind of neglect this campus, and it's run by the admin on campus. But because of that, there's a lot of inherent things that they can't change about it, like I said before, your class schedule, or things pertaining to your major, like credit situations. If you come in as a transfer, you're gonna have struggles with your credit, like a lot of struggles. They're gonna make you take the full 2 years most of the time, and it's just gonna be like a really difficult situation that I think no one should have to go through just for their classes to be transferred. And it's just really frustrating. A lot of things about it are really frustrating, but that's basically the entire video. I got through, I think, what are the main pros and cons of the school, and I don't know if this necessarily makes sense in the context of someone who hasn't been to the school yet, but either way, I hope it helps at least one person out there make their decision on whether or not to attend Pratt Munson. I'm gonna conclusively say that I think Pratt is I'm gonna conclusively say that Pratt Munson is a great place to go if you feel like you're on a budget and you feel like you don't have the resources to be taking out a, I don't know, 60K somewhere and be attending a school like Pratt Institute. You also spend very little at Pratt Munson because you're not around anything, so unless you get takeout every day, there's not much like entertainment around you for you to be spending money on. Like there's not a subway that you can take to, you know, Soho, where you can like spend a lot on clothes. That just doesn't exist. So you're probably gonna be spending relatively little. And I think if you really want to go attend Pratt Institute, if that's been your dream school for a while, this is a really nice way to do it because you're able to kind of get a shortcut into the school. And I think if you're someone that's very go with the flow and you don't necessarily care about in a way like getting personalized attention and you're really proactive and you enjoy kind of being the first to lead things, because it's a smaller school, they try to make events and they try to make social gatherings happen, but it doesn't always happen because not a lot of students participate, and because that it feels very dead and a bit lonely. And so if you're someone who doesn't mind that and you will go out of your way to go to karaoke night, or you'll go out of your way to go to the Halloween party, then you, I think, are golden. I think you're gonna have a lot of fun here, especially if you are a smoker, vapor, if you partake in weed of any kind. I think you'll have a great time here and it'll be very fun, and there's going to be like a lot of trauma bonding, but in the end I think it'll be like a relatively fun experience. So if you're that type of person, and if you think you need structure and you need a bit more of kind of leeway into before you go into the city and you really kind of go into adult life, then I think Pratt Munson is a perfect school for you. If you're someone that isn't like that though, especially if you're someone who has a bit of academic rigor and you are more social and you feel the need to be more career driven, then I genuinely don't think this is the school for you. I think you're better off at a state school, or I think you're better off at an art school that isn't on a satellite campus or something. So that's my take on it. Just some helpful tips that I want to give to end this video is that if you attend Pratt Munson, you should buy a car. You should somehow, if you have a car, you need to somehow get your car up there, because I think life up there is so much better when you have a mode of transportation, because it truly is in the middle of nowhere. So if you don't have that, then you're going to be stuck in the middle of nowhere and you're going to be bored to death. Either invest in a car or save enough money to be able to afford trips to New York City, which is what I did. You can take the train to New York because they're part of the same state, so you're gonna get it's gonna be easier than to fly in. But yeah, take the train down to New York City, have some fun there. Like there's people who do it every weekend, so if you have the expenses for that, I'd say do it every weekend. I think I did it around like once a month. I think that's a good way to do it. And then I think also budget to eat out, because you're not going to be getting any good food and any source of nutrients. That was my other thing, is it wasn't just the foods weren't good, I wasn't getting proper nutrients because all I was eating were carbs. All the things that were delicious were just straight carbs, like fries and things. Like they didn't make like good salads or like good things with protein, so there's just like very little options for that and you will lack nutrients. So budget to eat some greens or eat some like better food when you go out. I would also say that you need to be able to stand the winter. There's a very harsh winter in Utica, to the point where literally it feels like it's freezing. It's going to be below freezing for a good month, and it's going to be really like windy and like muddy and just dreary looking. You're going to get probably seasonal depression. Just prepare for that. Make your dorm a home so that you can kind of rest in there, because you're not going to want to go outside. Be friends with your roommates. And then last one is, I didn't do this, but I think you should if you have the resources and the time. I didn't, because literally it was during my prom, so I couldn't go there during Acceptance Students Day. But I say go to Acceptance Students Day, or go check the campus out on a tour or something, so just so you can see how the campus is and really get a feel for the surroundings, and prepare yourself for where you're going to be for 2 years, because you think 2 years is a short time, and in a way it is, but it's just not going to be, if it's not what you want, then those 2 years are going to be absolutely hellish. Yeah, I think that's my take on it. There's not much more to say. I thank you for watching this video, and I hope you have a great year if you do decide to attend Pratt, or if you decide to attend anywhere else. If you attend anywhere in New York City, hi, I will be there as well. Like and subscribe if you want more videos and content in relation to art school or college content or advice videos. Let me know if there's anything else you want me to address. I would leave my Instagrams in the description, so if you have any personal questions about Pratt Munson, just leave me a DM and I'll try to answer them. I truly wish everyone the best on their journeys, and yeah, thanks for watching, guys.